Alright, so I finally found a build for Amara that I'm really liking, and I want to share it with you guys. I'm just going to go through the build real fast, and then I'll explain everything afterwards, like why the points are where they are, and everything like that. So, we got 5 here to the second, 5 here to get you to the third, 3 and 2 to get you down here, and then 3 points in each of these guys. Over here, the main tree that you're going to be using, you're throwing 5 in here, and 5 in here. 1 in here and 4 in here to get down to the 4th row. Use 3 and 1. You can either throw one into the indiscriminate for ricochet bullets, or throw one more into infusion like I did. Down to the sustainment for 5, and then 1 in the final. The 3 perks, I guess you could say, you're going to be using. Your action skill will be the Ties That Bond, Allure for the augment, and Soulfire for the element. As far as weapons go and equipment goes, the main things that I'm using, I love the Nighthawk, I love the reference, and it's actually a really nice weapon against mobs. Mine's anointed, so it does do 125% more to badasses and such, so that helps. Also, the Scourge Unforgiven combo, the Scourge is electric, so the elemental damage is boosted. Cutsman is the main gun. Being at a medium distance to semi-close, you are going to be shredding almost everything. Shield is a transformer. You can also go with a stopgap or a recharger. I personally like the transformer so that you're not taking an instant shield loss from an electric rocket launcher or something like that. Grenade got the Merv Hex. Honestly, anything Hex, I would suggest the Hex Grenade is my personal favorite in this game. For the class mod, as long as you got the Phase Zerker with that action skill used, gives you your max rush stack. I've tried that 30 times and I cannot say it, I'm just leaving that in. Stats down below, I would suggest getting something that has Maliwan or Fire. This one's got incendiary resistance, so the stats down below aren't what matters. As for the perks, I would suggest anything with Tempest or Transcend. Class mod I'm still experimenting with. Right now I'm using the Elemental Projector because a lot of enemies set you on fire. I can set myself on fire in certain occasions, so I can do a lot of damage with the Cutsman. Honorable mentions for weapons, the Hellfire ain't too bad. The fire rate for it makes it very potent, especially when you can get them headshots on flesh and not shield. It is not great for shield. Crossroad, have not tried. The bitch is good when you got that elemental resistance issues with the Mayhem modifiers. This is a good substitute in there for maybe the Nighthawk. Rowan's Call, always helpful. I would suggest the fire one though. I have that on my Zane, that's why it's not here, but the Rowan's Call is still here to suggest. I would suggest the fire one. This one has an action skill which increases critical hit damage, which ain't bad. I haven't tried the Alchemist yet. Burning Flacker is not very great. Alright, so now let's explain kind of why these points are here. So we got 5 here to move down to the second tree. This also increases the status effect damage that you're going to be doing, like your fire and your electric, and the duration of it. If the enemy doesn't die, they're going to be taking damage for a very, very long time. Tempest, throwing 5 in there, just increases your elemental damage all around. That's why if you can get a class mod that boosts this as well, you're 5 out of 30. I'm assuming you'd get up to about 42% with the elemental damage, and with the shock damage, oh my gosh, if you're using that shock Scourge, ridiculous. Throwing 1 in the Dread because you only can throw 1 in there and it increases your gun damage. I mean, you just have to grab somebody and your gun damage goes up by 15%. Since Dread is only 1 point, you need 4 more to be able to get down, so you can either throw them into Infusion or Wildfire. I went with Infusion. Wildfire, what it does is basically when you apply a status effect, it gives you the chance of applying it to all enemies in close proximity. I went with Infusion because it adds a portion of your whatever your status or your skill effect is, which mine is fire, it applies that to your gun. Since we're boosting fire damage here, it helps a lot, especially for like the Scourge or the Nighthawk, which already technically has fire, it seems, but it also adds it to non-elemental weapons like the Unforgiven if I'm deciding to use that, or if I gotta use the bit. We throw one into Deep Well, we just get increased magazine size with elemental weapons, 20%, always nice. 3 points over into Catharsis. It just causes enemies to explode when they die, and it causes the element, whatever element you inflict, to go on to everybody nearby. Still need one more point, so I just threw it into Infusion again. The 5th row, we're going to throw 5 into Sustainment so that we have our life steal, so we are gaining life every time we are doing elemental damage. My class mod gives me 3 points over here. You can throw a point or two in here instead of up in Infusion, or instead of fully in here if you wanted to. It just increases your chance of causing an enemy to randomly implode. Final point for this tree goes for Forceful Expression. Just increases the elemental damage of whatever your ability's element is, which for us it is fire. On to Mystical Assault. We throw 5 into Violent Tapestry. This is where we're getting our main bulk of rush stacks. We get every time we apply a status effect, we're getting a rush stack. 5 in the Restless, just increases our cooldown rate. We don't throw anything into Descendant, so we need 5 more to get down. 3 into Transcend. This is where I would suggest having another class mod point. This increases your accuracy and critical hit damage after you activate your action skill. That's just activating it, so if you phase lock the ground, it's still activating it. Same with the Phase Zerker. If you phase lock the ground, you are going to get stacks. Next is Do Harm. The last 2 points we needed. Killing an enemy gives you rush stacks. It increases the action skill damage. You don't really need your action skill damage increased with this, for bosses at least. For mobs, it's nice a little bit. So that's why we only throw 2 in there. Why we only really need 2. Moving down to row number 4, we got Laid Bare. Increases damage from all sources after an enemy is damaged from our action skill. And Wrath gets our final 3 points over here, which just increases gun damage. And after we activate our action skill, it basically doubles the increase. Why not? It's free damage. Alright, so here goes Tyrene, and then after Grave Ward. As you can see, I phase lock as I go down, and little counter at the bottom. I've my stacks, one of my stacks. Don't realize that I'm out of ammo. I forgot that I was out of ammo. I was like, damn it. Screw it, go with the Cutsman. Cutsman just shreds. Takes her down, makes her invincible. But for some reason she comes back and I don't realize it, so just run around a little bit here, trying to kill some mobs. But the thing about this class is it's really good with fire. You're basically the new Firehawk. I mean, your Cutsman, your Nighthawkin, your anything with fire is just gonna shred people. There, I finally realized it. Is this where I finish her? I don't think I finish her with this here. Just I get her down to the next thing, and she's got to fly. Oh, nope. She stands right back up and starts flying. I tried so hard to kill her while she was flying, but she finally lands, and she's dead. That fight took about 2 minutes with that resistance and her phases. Here's Grave Ward without any phases, using the Scourge because the Scourge is ridiculous. Fun tip, throw in the Cutsman in between, and then the Unforgiven. Almost a one-shot. Almost a one-shot. If I wouldn't have gotten stuck, I probably would have killed him before he fell down here. But I got stuck on the side of that thing. But this fight is like 30 seconds. It just melts the Grave Ward like it's nothing. I think that was a increased elemental damage, but still, it's just beautiful. Definitely try it out if you haven't already.